All right, ladies and gentlemen, with that, it's time for the grand finale, which is the final panel discussion for the day here at MAPIC India 2022. We're going to have a galaxy of retail top leaders join us here on this platform. We have been talking about moving to the next normal, and that's what's going to be decoded over here. Where does retail go from here, right? And that's the topic of discussion. And yes, the stage is set, so we're going to go ahead and invite the speakers onto the stage right away. So great. For that, let me first invite the moderator for the session. We have it as partner deals for PwC. We have Vineet Satija. Yes, let's have you on the stage. Thank you. And joining him, we have Sangeeta Prasad, Group CEO for Involve Group. We also have the CEO for 91 Square Feet, Amit Bansal. Joining them on stage, we also have the President for Malls, the Phoenix Mills Limited, Rajendra Kalkar. CEO for Reliance Jewels, Sunil Nayak. And the Managing Director and CEO for Lacoste, we have Rajesh Jain. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the grand finale, the final panel discussion. Could we have a huge round of applause for all of them, including the panelists who have come here so far in the last few days? Superb. Mr. Vineet, over to you.
Thank you. Okay, it's always a pressure when it's the last session of the day, right? It's also the long 2 days, so we thought we should make it more interesting for the audience as well as for us. So I think the few points which I thought I should set it up before we get into the discussion is, I think the future of retail, I think, and there's been a lot of discussion around that happening given there's been some changes because of the COVID, consumer behaviors, the way they have been buying, right? The rise of D2C brands trying to go online, malls trying to digitize. Right? There's been a lot of discussion around it. So maybe Rajesh, why don't I start with you, right? You have been running Lacoste for I think more than a decade now, right? Being a veteran in this industry. And you have seen on how the whole trend towards the digital, right? The rise of the D2C brands, the social media spend, how consumers are trying to buy online, brands now trying to go more and more online. What has been your learning and how you see this sort of evolving over the next few years? Sort of what's your been thoughts about your thing?
Thank you, Vineet. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure being here. So to answer your question, Vineet, to understand this, I believe first of all we have to understand the market that India offers, and India, I believe, offers great opportunities and great challenges also. So wherever we see there are challenges, there are opportunities and vice versa. Now to look at this question, I believe that we should see from the customer's perspective. From the customer's perspective, with the increasing disposable income and exposure to global trends, the need to look and feel good is actually increasing significantly. Because of that, the demand is coming from every nook and corner, from every place, every region in the country, for all the categories. It's not limited to one category or to one segment of the category or any particular kind of, I would say, brand or something. It's all the retailers, they see huge opportunity in the country. Now, this is from the demand perspective where we can also categorize the customers, let's say, in two broader segments. One is the elite customers. That customer segment, they look at value for money, quality. These are the two important factors for them, and they don't mind spending more to achieve that quality as long as it delivers the value for money. On the other hand, we have an aspirational customer. That aspirational customer gets influenced more because of the social media and because they want to upgrade their lifestyle. These are the two broad opportunities that the customer offers in terms of demand. Now, if we look at the supply side, in supply, retailers, I believe, need to focus on two extremely important things. One is innovation. And when I say innovation, I'm not talking about only technological innovation. Of course, that's an important thing. But the product should also keep on getting innovative styles, innovative colors, innovative fabrics, innovative kind of categories also could be there. And the second most important thing for supply side is availability and those places where your TG is. So whichever market, whichever category, whichever positioning you are in, you have to be present wherever your TG is present, whether it is offline, online, smaller towns, bigger cities. You have to identify that your TG is in those places and you have to be available and visible in those places. Now, another extremely important thing that is happening, apart from these two on the supply side, a very important thing that is happening globally as well as catching on fast in India is the brand purpose. And when I say brand purpose, customers do look for the responsible brands now. And when I say responsible brands, it's immediately and directly associated with ESG, environmental, social, and governance. And whenever the customer see that the brand or the retailer is aware and is working towards achieving this ESG, they feel more affinity towards the brand, towards the retailer. These are extremely important things to fulfill that supply side. Now, if you see the channels of distribution, when you say that what is likely to happen in the future, how the things will go in 2, 3, 4 years from now, what I believe is that in a country like India, online and offline are two different beautiful channels. They will go hand in hand. None of them is going to die very soon. Another new channel that has got added, in fact, that's a combination of these two channels, which is Omni. Omni is making lot of inroads, that is growing. It's still in nascent stages, but it's growing very fast. I see, or at least I personally believe, that these online, offline, Omni, these are the things that have already happened. They're just growing. The very important part here is the next thing, and I personally believe that metaverse could make the things in a completely different manner. Whether it is online or offline, metaverse will play an important role in future. That's my belief on future of retail.
No, no, very, very good point, Rajesh. I think fantastically put. I think very good. The points I think which you brought up, and then Sunil, maybe coming to you from here, what sort of Rajesh was mentioning, I think jewelry as a segment hasn't seen too much of penetration online, right? It still continues to be a offline dominated segment. Yeah, there has been some few online brands which were born. If you see, they have probably gone offline back again because consumer wants the touch and feel. How do you see that evolving in a specifically a sector like jewelry, right, where you have been there?
Yeah. So, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I think from the jewelry perspective, pre-COVID, I think none of us, starting from us, were...
You may have to keep the mic closer to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's better.
Clear? So, pre-COVID, I think none of us were even thinking about going online in a serious way. Come COVID, and we started thinking about how do I maintain our expenses, and the physical stores are closed. And if I am particularly talking about our business, Reliance Jewels, that is where we prepone our plans to launch the online business, and we successfully launch in the next 6 months. And the reality is that the business did start coming from online. Maybe a little bit of modified version of online, but we started getting the business through online. But as you know, at the end of the day, this is the category which is a high involvement category. This is the category where look, feel, and touch matter. So while we could survive and we could, the online business grew maybe in the 30, 40, 50% quarter after quarter. But the moment it started settling down and the store started opening up, we saw that the customers prefer to come back to the store. So that's number one, where overall, I think it remains a challenge. The customers do prefer to come to our stores. The other two aspects are it also depends on the age profile of a customer. The new, young Xanax customers, they don't mind buying online as far as there is a complete detail about the product which we sell. They are well aware what is the gold, what is the diamond, what kind of categories we deal in, what are the sizes. If we give all through the modern technology, if we aid them in making the decision, the new generations definitely they have continued to shop online. But otherwise, historically, this has been a conventional industry. People do come in the store. They would like to try out that product and then buy. Also, I think the category what we are talking about, the smaller categories like a chain or earring or finger rings, I think that goes well online. But the moment you go towards the wedding shopping or the bigger products, it goes back to the offline. So if I just summarize as to whether we should be, how much we should be dependent on online, at the end of the day, as I say, this category involves heavy investment in the industry, in the inventory. This is an inventory heavy industry. And it all depends, the profitability will be dependent on how efficiently we manage the inventory. If we have to manage the inventory well, whether it is offline, online, or we should be omni-channel. So I think many of us have started investing in making the brand omni-channel presence. And this is a modified version of, as I say, only online or only offline. It becomes, the objective is to become online to offline, offline to offline, or offline to online. So I think the combination of all this will be the future.
Very interesting, very interesting. So maybe I'll just pick up the point which sort of Rajesh mentioned, from metaverse to talking about omni-channel. And Rajendra, maybe I'll come back to you, but maybe I'll take this first to Amit. So Amit, how are you seeing, right? I know you are a startup, just started focusing on the retail and sort of working with a lot of retailers, because the point which Rajesh meant, right? And I think I've been hearing about this a lot, about metaverse, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, right? A lot of things are going to play a major role. People are looking at experience centers on what they want to create on the future of the retail. Where do you think that's moving, right? What's your thoughts about that?
Yeah, so let me tell you what we are doing in 91 square feet. So just a little bit of background. We are a turnkey contractor which super specialized in building retail store. And to paint the context on your question is, why we are doing what we are doing is, we realize that, there are so many companies outside India which have built more than 1,000 stores in a year. Subway has built it, McDonald's, there's Luckin Coffee in China which has done it. But it is yet to happen in India. And this is not because there's a lack of appetite in the country. Almost there's a $800 billion retail economy which is still unorganized. So there's a lot of appetite for retail infra coming up in India. But the challenge for growth has been that there are a lot of practical issues when a retailer starts to grow. The challenge in discovering the right properties, challenges in building out the stores, challenges in operating the stores on a day-to-day basis. And all these things are kind of making the growth of the sector a little bit slow, right? So I think so many things will definitely happen for the sector. But first thing that should definitely happen, that all these practical challenges must go away for retailers to be, completely productive and focused on building the right experiences and taking the experience to the whole another level. So out of this piece, definitely we are following the build piece wherein we're building the store. But going forward, if you talk about where the retail is heading, what I'm seeing is that for any retail business to become robust, or for the industry to become robust, there is a need for having an operating system for retail in place, wherein a retailer can easily, at one place can discover the right side of property, can build those properties with a click of a button, and can operate those property, and all these known core function, right? There should be an easy way to do all these kind of things, because that's when the time and energy which is kind of getting leaked out in all these endeavors will get free, brands will get ample amount of time to focus on innovation around be it product design, be it designing the right store experience for the customer, or be it designing the distribution channel or solving the inventory problem and trying out the metaverse and all these kind of things. So I think the first thing that I see happening in the sector is that I see a lot of technology kind of coming together to solve the practical challenges that we are facing today. And while all that is happening, I think the stage is set for the next set of growth, wherein new experiential technologies like metaverse, augmented reality is coming in the jewelry sector in a big way because inventory, as Sunil said, is a big problem, right? So the moment you able to master the augmented reality for the product design in jewelry, your inventory problem vanishes, right? So all these technologies are definitely coming together. My take is that all these practical challenges should be solved first. Retailers as well as all the other ecosystem players should be and are making efforts to kind of make that happen. And eventually, I think over the next decade, we are definitely going to see a different era of retailing, different kind of experience for the customer. And I also kind of resonate with, that metaverse is definitely happening. I can see that this is coming together, and that's one place where the metaverse is probably the true culmination of omni-channel. That is going to, I think that is going to be the start point where the omni-channel retailing will actually, start to happen in real form.
Very interesting. In fact, I was reading an article, and I'll share. This is an interesting article. Nowadays, NFT is becoming very common, where retailers are saying that we want to have an NFT, right? And the question which a lot of people are asking is, how do you link this NFT to the physical world, right? And that's the question which is being going a lot. How does the brands link NFT? In fact, one of the large jewelry players we met recently and said we want to create NFTs for that. So that's obviously once you get that Insta post that you are a exclusive NFT member. But how do you use it back to the physical world, or actually to the, I would say, the metaverse world, right? That's where we trying. So I have an NFT. Suppose I go to Reliance Jewel and buy a jewelry and I get an NFT. How do I use it, right? I am an exclusive NFT consumer and everybody is trying to launch an NFT. And that's what we were started thinking and ideating, and there was a very good idea which was coming from a future of retail when you sort of associate yourself with a brand. Like tomorrow I buy a Lacoste t-shirt or a Reliance Jewel, I get this NFT, and tomorrow I may be sitting in a similar session in an auditorium and I want to wear an Lacoste t-shirt. I can just select that, go wear and do that, right? It was so interesting session, and how brands are thinking about sort of linking it that, right? I don't know how many of you have been sort of thinking about that, or sort of what has been your thoughts, but some of these thoughts on how the future of the consumer will move, right? And coming off this NFT will definitely have a lot of change in way we retail coming in. Right? So that's something which came to my mind. I thought I should share with the audience as well as the panelists. Okay, Rajendra, I think some of the very interesting thoughts came about metaverse, omni-channel, digitization, technology, right? He in fact talked about the operating system, right? Retail being the operating system, right? And one of the part, right, the whole levers or sort of this thing is the malls, right? Where it goes back, because the whole ecosystem needs to move towards digitization or sort of association, what's happening around that. What has been your thoughts, right, from when you have been seeing one of the largest mall developers in India? What have you been seeing, and how you think a mall owner can sort of contribute from a brand perspective to achieve some of the things which they are trying to do there?
Hello, good evening, everybody. I always say, for India, before 10 years, there was a very important part of your life called a mandir. And today, malls have become the modern mandirs. Now, I'm saying this from a part that, in every human being's life, the mandir played a very vital role. And I think going forward, these modern mandirs are going to play an equally vital role. You can't stay away from a modern mandir. Whether it is business, whether it is your personal aspirations, whether it is your personal time that you have to spend, you have to be a part of it. That's a large responsibility on these modern mandirs. And, the only way we can contribute towards business, towards partners, is by collaborating with them, by ensuring that their interest is taken care. Because, uh, if you look at the last, when I did my management, that was Philip Kotler, they said P, 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 and everybody said that for a good result, the place is the P. All 4 P's are place, 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 and place. And in today's world, you can say that from a business, I give space. So place and space are very next to each other. If you look at the modern way the business is going, they're also getting into, even if it's an online business, it's a business of place. You need 2 places. One, you need space on the cloud for everything that you're gathering, and you need a place for a consumer who is buying at his convenience at his place. So that place is becoming very important. The point I'm trying to drive is these 3 places have to marry together. The space in the cloud, the space in the customer at his convenience, and the place or space where he is going to come out of his comfort zone. Sometimes, it becomes overwhelming. Why you see this COVID after wave is people have, it's good to experience something new for a time being, but then as a social animal, you have to be with social people. You have to spend your time with people together. In the confines of a room, in front of a 14-inch screen, you can't spend your life, or you can't get an experience. So that has to change. And for retailers, that is where now, as a next step, what we are doing is we are supporting retailers in all the endeavors that they are looking at. Whether, it's a new age technology, they want an omni-channel experience, they want storages, they want future businesses, they want technologies, how a mall can be a part of a technology with the retailer. So we are progressively working with them, trying to bring in all the changes that a consumer wants, that a retailer wants. And trust me, these changes are not very easy for a business like real estate, where you've already invested 1,000 crores kind of a thing in a property, which is a hard place. And you have to ensure that they also succeed and you also succeed. So it's a hard way to look at it. But then that's the way, and that's the change. What they say always is, the only thing constant is change. So we have to be a part of this change. The way malls market themselves for consumers, how we help the retailers so that they reach out to the consumer where they want to. The kind of pull that we need to bring in for consumers so that they come to the mall, so that they experience the brand of the stores that he builds or the products that they bring into the mall. I think it needs a lot of effort to bring all of this together to ensure that a consumer remains concurrent with the technology, the product, and the experience that is going to come forward in the future.
Very interesting, Rajendra. That's very, very interesting. Sangeeta, maybe coming back to you, and I think a similar point which I was sort of trying to ask Rajendra, how are you seeing from your group sort of thing, from digitization, from a mall perspective? I know you are a big consumer and sort of trying to be. So what are you think? One, from a, let's put the hat of two, right? Think when you're a consumer, you're walking into a mall and you have different brands which are trying to digitize, you have malls which want to digitize. And then when you go back and wear the hat of your CEO of the group and saying that if I am the mall owner, now what I need to do. So how are you seeing that from your side?
So first of all, good evening to all of you. Delighted to be here. It's quite interesting. You kind of snatched my thought. I wanted to represent the customer here. And along with Rajendra, along with Place, there's a new arm of marketing called Pace. Since you were speaking, that was coming to my mind. Today, pace is key. And what is pace all about? And a customer wants a wholesome, seamless experience. I want to have the cake and eat it too. I want to be physical, I want to be digital. I want to go to online and see what all is on offer. And I still want to go to the outlet and experience it. I think earlier today, I was discussing with you all on jewelry, and I said, as a woman consumer, much as I want to buy online, I just love going in front of the mirror and kind of putting that neck piece and seeing wo mere gale pe kaise lag raha hai. So, that's the interesting twist which is happening today. In a consumer's mind, the consumer wants to have it all, and at a pace and at a place of his or her convenience. And that's an insight, irrespective of where I am, which business I am in, I believe that is true and universally true. So now let me go a little deeper. And as I was thinking, suddenly the Nike Speed Shop came to my mind. I'm sure all of you are aware. People, it's like web check-in. You go to the web, you choose a few sneakers, models, then you have a seamless entry into the Nike store, and no one stops you. It is web checked in, it is checked in for you, and you go and try it out and buy it out. So what a wonderful experience. You have actually seamlessly got the online and the offline together to give a wonderful experience to that pacey, racy youngster. So place and pace go hand in hand. Convenience and comfort go hand in hand, seamless. There's also, so these examples inspire us. So the way, today is the world of, as you said, AI, platform, network effect. So I see a mall owner like Rajendra and me being platforms, creating network effect for my consumer who comes not just to purchase, but to recreate and rejuvenate. So how do I create a place where there's an event at one end and there's this wonderful food thing on the other, and there is, of course, the RCT football corporate event. So how do you kind of mesh it all together and you create surprises for your customers? One of the things, another insight, consumer insight, which I have got in my earlier avatar wherever I have worked, today's pacey, racy customer is looking for surprises. So how do you create, as a mall developer, that element of intrigue and surprise that I want to visit that place again? अरे last time जब गई थी ना तो कुछ और था, और कुछ देखना है मुझे. Because people's attention span is going down. We are always dil mange more. So these are some of the consumer insights which we as mall developers have to take in and work with the retailers. So can you put your best foot forward? I will put my best foot forward. And how can we collaborate to create that intrigue, that surprise, that pacey, racy customer is desiring today? That's how I see the whole retail space evolving and morphing.
Very good. Very, very good. Thank you, Sangeeta. That's a very good point. I'm mindful of the time which is there. So maybe what we can do is, if any of the panel members has last few thoughts, we can sort of take it up before we open the floor for the audience. Maybe Rajesh?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Vinit. So I would like to take up a subject that what is currently happening in consumers' mind and in retail's mind also. So if we see, we are living in a very typical times where the availability, the change in environment, those are changing the consumers' preferences and the way consumers shop. Not only shopping, whether you see exercising, whether you see socializing, everything is completely changing. And I can draw a parallel to this. If you go back to the era of early 90s, none of us could even think of having a device which you can carry and talk to anybody anywhere. And that was called mobile phone. When in 1995 onwards, mobiles came into India. Now today, nobody can think of a life without a mobile phone. Similarly, this era is something which is changing the consumer's preferences, and that is changing the entire ecosystem for the retailers also. From the retailer's perspective, if I see, the changes are not new. It's not the changes were not happening earlier. However, after online entered India in mid-2014, and after that the recent COVID period, the pace of changes, the speed of changes has significantly gone up. But at the same time, retailers have also realized that there is nothing called permanent. There is the retailers are more receptive to the changes now. They want to adopt the changes, and they also want to look at the future, that what are the changes that are likely to happen in future. These things put together, one from the consumer's perspective and the other from the retailer's perspective, and obviously mall developers also are part of it. The entire ecosystem is quite geared up to take care of the future changes and to address it in such a manner that we all put together bring that customer delight.
Very good point. Sunil?
So I think I will talk from the jewelry industry again. I think the innovation and technology will remain buzzword in the future. In an industry where the investment, it's an inventory-led business. to churn out the maximum return out of the investment, I think we have to continuously evolve ourselves and look for the modern technology to ensure that the investment in the inventory will go down. That's number one. The second thing is that the customers have become very, very demanding now. Particularly the younger generation, they want something new and different. You know, like in a jewelry industry, there are about 3 lakh operators in the country today. Each one has to offer their own product. Now there are no benchmarks because at the end of the day, it all depends on your creativity. To offer something different, you know, nobody wants to buy me too, you know. So if something he or she wants to buy exclusive, you need to create different designs. Now to create the new designs, different designs, again you have to look at the investment in the inventory. So unless and until you continuously evolve, it becomes very, very challenging to sustain your business.
Okay. Rajendra, any thoughts from your side?
I mentioned change is the only thing which is constant. But you know, we must not forget that there are some basics rules of business. So when you look for change, when you're dramatically changing, don't forget the basics of the business because they always remain the same. You have to ensure that you top them up with the technology, you top them up with the time that you're selling or living in, but the basics remain same. And the second thing which is, you know, which has major change which has happened in the last 10 years worldwide, you know, we used to see not many people tech savvy. Today, I think 80% of the world has become tech savvy. That dramatic change has brought in a lot of disruptive way of living and looking at life and business. And it is impacting retail, real estate in a big way for better because we are able to match up to that speed and pace of technology. If you don't do that, I think then you'll be out of the race. But if you maintain that, if you're a part of that technology race, you'll continue to grow.
Sure. I've been already shown twice the time up, so maybe, Amit, last 30 seconds for you and then 30 seconds for you, Sangeeta, before we can go to the audience.
So in my mind, I think the retail stores in future are going to be very different. Like nowadays, we are looking at retail stores like there's a project, there's an interior fit out project. You know, we've created an asset, we have created an experience where customer come and shop. I think in future, the store is going to operate more like a machine connected to a, you know, operating system sort of a thing. The store will speak with the customer, will understand who is walking in, will understand his or her preferences basis their browsing history or omni-channel data which is available, will propose the right amount of, you know, products for the customer to check out. The checking out experience, the trial experience, everything is going to be super simplified. Inventory burden will be less. And for us to kind of embark on that journey, we also probably need to change the lens a little bit. So right now, we are all interested in optimizing the capex of the store and not looking at the opex. I think if we start looking at the OPEX precisely, even if it means that, you know, in terms of optimizing the OPEX, we can spend a little more on the CAPEX. I think it will create a, you know, virtuous cycle wherein lots and lots of innovation will start flowing in and it will get to that stage faster.
Sure. Sangeeta?
Short of time, so I would just say ace it, create access, comfort and experience for your customer and you will ace it in no other way.
Very well said, very well said. I think we are out of time, but we can take one question if anybody has, or we can just sort of wrap it up. Okay. No, don't think so. Anybody has question? No, thank you. Thank you all of you. I think it was a very good discussion. We sort of brought up very, very good points. I think from metaverse to the demand, from supply, and I think especially I would say that both Sangeeta and Rajendra brought up a point. Really, real estate has done so much of investment already, right? And now they have to catch up with the pace of technology to ensure from a consumer perspective, from a retailer perspective, and ensuring that sort of a experience continues to be delivered. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the session. Thank you.